Welcome to Graceland Online Tutorial. Our topic today is sketch graphs. I'll be discussing quadratic functions under the sketch graphs. In mathematics, a quadratic function is defined by the equation y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, or c could be positive or negative. Now, if the function gives you a U-shaped parabola graph, it means that this a, which is the coefficient of x squared, if it gives you, the function gives you a U-shaped parabola graph, it means that this a is positive. And when the function gives you a N-shaped parabola graph, it means the a is negative. Having said that, let's look at the graphs in figure 5, Roman figure 1 and Roman figure 2. In Roman figure 1, we have a U-shaped parabola graph. It means that a is positive for us to have a U-shaped parabola graph. And in Roman figure 2, we have a N-shaped parabola graph. That means the a in the function is negative. It is negative to have a N-shaped parabola graph. Now let's look at example 1. You are asked to sketch the graph of y is equal to x squared minus 12x plus 36, showing where the curve cuts the x-axis. First, to know where the curve cuts the x-axis, x must be equal to 0 and also y equal to 0. Now to do that, let's look at the equation again. Y is equal to x squared minus 12x plus 36. I'm going to solve this in 3 steps. Step 1. The curve cuts the y-axis when x is equal to 0. When x is equal to 0, replace this x with the figure 0. So if you have 0 here, you have 0 squared minus 12 times 0, then plus 36. So which means the x squared will turn to 0, minus 12x will also turn to 0. So we have 0 minus 0 plus 36. So y automatically becomes 36. So y is equal to 36. So meaning that if x is equal to 0, the curve is going to cut the y-axis at plus 36. So the coordinate there is 0, 36. When x is 0, then y will be 36. Step 2. The curve cuts the x-axis when y is equal to 0. So meaning that if y is equal to 0, x squared minus 12x plus 36 is equal to 0. So the next thing is to factorize. To understand factorization very well, you go back to my video on my YouTube channel at Graceland Tutorial to learn how to factorize quadratic equation. Now, x squared minus 12x plus 36 is equal to 0. By the time we factorize that, we have x minus 6 into x minus 6 is equal to 0. So meaning that x minus 6 will be equal to 0. Take note, we have that twice. So x minus 6 will be equal to 0 twice. And x will be equal to 0. Then minus 6 will move to the right hand side. You have plus 6. So x will be equal to 0 plus 6. So meaning x is equal to 6 twice. So the coordinate will give us 6 twice and then 0, meaning when y is equal to 0, our x will be equal to 6 twice. Step 3. The coefficient of x squared in the graph is what? Is positive. Don't forget. The coefficient of x squared here is 1, and that 1 is positive. For the fact that it is positive, it means that we are going to have a U-shaped parabola graph, meaning that the curve is going to be a U-shaped parabola. Now, to do that, it's going to pass through 0, 36, and then 6 twice 0, meaning that when x is equal to 0, the curve is going to cut the y-axis at 36. And when y is equal to 0, the curve is going to cut the x-axis at 6. Now, this is the graph. You can see, look at the graph, a U shape, because the coefficient is positive. The coefficient of x squared is positive. So, it cuts the y-axis at 36. And then the same curve cuts the x-axis at 6. Now, number 2. Sketch the graph of y is equal to 15 minus 2x minus x squared, showing where the curve cuts the x-axis. Remember, for you to determine where the curve cuts the x-axis, you have to make x equal to 0 and also y equal to 0. Step 1. The curve cuts the y-axis when x is equal to 0. So if x is equal to 0, you have y is equal to 15 minus, this is going to turn to 0, 2 times 0 is 0, minus x squared, 0 times 0 will give you 0. So y will be equal to plus 15. And then the coordinate will be 0 and 15, meaning when x is equal to 0, y is equal to 15. In step 2, if you make y is equal to 0, then we'll be able to determine where the curve cuts the x-axis. So if y is equal to 0, 15 minus 2x minus x squared will be equal to 0. So you factorize that as well. So by the time you factorize the quadratic equation, you have 3 minus x into 5 plus x, which is equal to 0. So which means 3 minus x is equal to 0, or 5 plus x will be equal to 0. Now, x will be equal to 3 or minus 5 if you have 3 minus x is equal to 0. So 3 will be equal to x. Or if 5 plus x is equal to 0, then x will be equal to 0. The 5 will move to the right hand side. That will turn to minus 5. So 0 minus 5 is minus 5. Don't forget here, we have 3. I said 3 is equal to x because I've moved minus x to the right hand side. If 3 is equal to x, automatically x will also be equal to 3. So x is equal to 3 from the first equation, and x is equal to minus 5 from the second equation. So the coordinate now is 3 or minus 5 for x, and then 0 for y. So if y is 0, x will be 3 or minus 5. Step 3. Note that the coefficient of x squared here is minus 1, and that is negative 1. It is negative. Now, since the coefficient of x squared is negative, we are going to have a n-shaped parabola graph. we are going to have a N-shaped parabola graph. So to do that, to know where the curve cuts the y-axis and the x-axis is going to pass through 0, 15, and then 3 or minus 5, 0, meaning when x is 0, y is 15, and when y is 0, x is 3 or minus 5. So the curve will cut the y-axis at plus 15 and then cut the x-axis at minus 5 and also 3. The last example. You are asked to find, or let me put it this way, what equation is represented by the sketch graph in figure 8. Now you are given a sketch graph and you are asked to form the equation. How will you do that? Now before you can solve that, look at it. The curve cuts the x-axis at minus 1 and then 2. So the minus 1 and 2 are the roots of the equation. The minus 1 and 2 are the roots of the equation. Remember, in one of my videos, I've explained how to form an equation using the roots of quadratic equation. Now, the curve also cuts the y-axis at minus 2. Now, let's solve that. Now, remember our equation is going to be y is equal to as squared plus bs plus c. That is the curve as the equation y is equal to as squared plus bs plus c. Now, to do this, we need to know the intercept. Remember, I told you that the curve cuts the x-axis, the y-axis rather, at minus 2. So that is the intercept on the y-axis. So c is going to be equal to minus 2. Since we've known that, we need to calculate or form the equation. And to form the equation, where the curve cuts the x-axis, what you have there is minus 1 and plus 2. And those are the roots of the quadratic equation. So if the roots are minus 1 and plus 2, then we can form the equation. Now you have x minus the minus 1 in bracket, then open another bracket, x minus, then plus 2 in bracket, close the bracket, is equal to 0. X, then minus times minus will give us plus. Then you have 1, or you say minus times minus 1, that's plus 1, into x, minus times plus 2 will give minus 2, close the bracket, is equal to 0. So which means we have x plus 1 into x minus 2 is equal to 0. So expanders, x times x squared, x times minus 2, minus 2x, plus 1 times x, plus 1 times minus 2, minus 2, equal to 0. So you have x squared, minus 2x plus x will give us minus x, then minus 2 is equal to 0. Now, I want you to take note of something. Remember I said the last time that the curve cuts the y-axis at minus 2, which is our c. Now, if you look at this equation here, we have x squared minus x minus 2. So we already have minus 2 in the equation, which is the c, equal to 0. Now, in other words, this is going to be the required equation. So y is equal to x squared minus x minus 2 is the required equation. And again, I want you to do something. By the time we have the equation, we have x squared minus x minus 2 is equal to 0. The coefficient there is positive. And if you look at the graph given to us, is a U-shaped parabola graph. So because the x is positive. That brings us to the end of today's tutorial. Thank you for watching this video. Please once again, if you find the video useful, like the video and share the video. And most importantly, please, I'm begging you, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Graceland Tutorial. God bless you as you do that. Success is yours.